Hello, welcome to my channel WWE Pulse.
A brutal, hard hitter from Austria. That's what we have in Gunther. He is an unstoppable force and has been tearing through WWE like nothing we've ever seen before. But he has also been breaking records left, right, and center. And that's not even mentioning his promo skills and his mic work, which are elite level. He truly is the ring general, and he is absolutely incredible. But first, let me ask you a question. Have you ever heard of a man named Wally? Well, if you haven't, it might be time to brush up on your wrestling history. Because Wally was a pioneer of professional wrestling and one of the biggest stars during the 1960s and 70s. He's considered by many to be the greatest European wrestler of all time. And when Wally wrestled, people would flock to arenas just to witness his match. He truly was a spectacle and an absolute must-see attraction. During his illustrious career, Wally was a 12-time world champion. And if you're wondering why you haven't heard of him, well, that's probably because he never wrestled in the WWE. He competed across Europe, mainly in WWF and in NWA territories. But he was also a huge star in other promotions such as All Japan Pro Wrestling. Unfortunately, he passed away back in 2021 at the age of 80, but his legacy lives on in the form of Gunther. Gunther's real name is Walter, which is obviously a nod to the legendary wrestler. And Gunther has carried on that same tradition of being an absolute powerhouse, dominating everyone in his path. Fans absolutely adore him, and he commands a huge amount of respect. I mean, who wouldn't respect a man who demands that the mat be treated as sacred? That shows how much respect he has for the sport of wrestling. And he doesn't just talk the talk either. He backs it up with his actions week after week on WWE programming. This man truly is the ring general, and he is without a doubt the most dominant mid-carder in the entire company. I mean, look at his record. It is absolutely insane. As of today, he is 318 days into his Intercontinental Championship reign. And during that time, he has defended the title an impressive 14 times. He beat the previous record of 30 successful defenses set by both Chris Jericho and The Miz. To do it, he didn't need to rely on cheap tactics or shenanigans. Gunther just went out there and beat down everyone who dared to challenge him. In fact, some of his challengers weren't even able to make it to the finish line. They were forced to tap out due to Gunther's sheer dominance. That's how good this guy is. He makes his opponents quit. The last time we saw someone dominate the IC title like this was probably around 2009, when The Miz was in the midst of his legendary run. The Miz was also a phenomenal talker, arguably the best talker in the entire company. And he also commanded respect from everyone in the locker room. So it's quite fitting that he has become close friends with Gunther backstage. The two seem to have a great relationship, and they help each other out a lot. In fact, when Gunther made his main roster debut in April 2022, it was The Miz who welcomed him to the party, and he was actually the first person Gunther had a match with on the main roster. A few weeks later, the two teamed up to take on Kevin Owens and Steve Riddle. And when Gunther pinned Riddle to get the win, The Miz looked on in disgust. That was the moment their friendship ended, and it led to an amazing match between these two superstars. It was a very competitive contest, and both men looked really strong. But in the end, Gunther picked up the victory. The match was so good, though, that it earned them a rematch the following week. Again, it was back and forth, but once again Gunther came out on top. To be honest, though, The Miz could have easily beaten Gunther here. There was a point where he hit the skull-crushing finale, but for some reason the referee was distracted and he didn't count the pin. That was quite a controversial finish, but it helped further cement Gunther as the dominant heel. After The Miz lost to two matches, he got a third opportunity, except this time it was a false count anywhere match. Now this was definitely a swerve, as Gunther had already defeated The Miz twice in falls. Count anywhere matches on NXT UK. So it felt like The Miz was destined to finally pick up the win here. But no, Gunther shocked us all and defeated The Miz yet again. This was the moment Gunther officially arrived on the main roster. He was finally getting the rub from the former WWE champion. And things were about to get a whole lot more serious for the Intercontinental Champion. Gunther then went on to dominate the mid-card scene. And he even began feuding with the likes of Sheamus, one of the toughest competitors in the entire industry. Their first match was a brutal back-and-forth affair that ended in a double countout. However, the following week, Gunther got the win over Sheamus after interference from Ludwig Kaiser and Giovanni Vinci, a.k.a. The New Day. Gunther then went on to defeat Sheamus again at Clash at the Castle. In my opinion, Gunther probably should have lost this one, as it would have been a great way to get Sheamus over. But I can understand why WWE went with Gunther. He is still relatively new to the main roster, and they want to push him as much as possible. So I think it is safe to say that Gunther is going to continue to dominate the mid-card scene, and he will likely be a mainstay in the upper mid-card for years to come. He is just that good. But if he does stick around for a long time, he might end up surpassing some of the all-time greats. Just think about it. If he maintains his current pace, he will overtake the 449-day reign of Razor Ramon sometime next year. We have already mentioned that he will surpass the 14-match defense record held by The Miz and Chris Jericho. And if he keeps going strong, he could even overtake the 21-match defense record held by Honky Tonk Man, of course. It's easier said than done. If anyone can accomplish this, it's Gunther. He is just such a monster. And he is someone who clearly loves the art of professional wrestling. What I love about Gunther is that he isn't just a big, strong guy who relies on his strength. He is a phenomenal technical wrestler. And he can go toe-to-toe with the best of them. Sure, he's not going to win every match, and he will have his fair share of losses, but those losses will always feel like they were due to outside interference. If you recall, earlier in his main roster career, Gunther did suffer a couple of losses to Shinsuke. Now, Nakamura is a phenomenal wrestler, and he gave Gunther all he could handle, but it was outside interference that led to him winning both. Gunther, however, took this criticism to heart, and he vowed to never allow outside interference to cost him a match again. And he has kept true to his word ever since. It is clear that Gunther takes pride in his craft, and that he wants to carry on the legacy of the Intercontinental Championship. And when you have someone with that kind of dedication, you have to respect them. He is someone who takes his job seriously, and he treats the business with the respect it deserves. And that's why he is known as the Ring General. Thanks for watching.
Okay guys, thank you for watching my videos.